Hello, everybody, and welcome to session 10 of the Imris Saga. Excited to be here. Unfortunately, Marisa is out today. They are sick, but we're going to continue on without them. Quick recap: last session, the party decided to, in order to earn some coin in some downtime, take on a quest at the tavern. They went to the local adventuring waterhole, or one of them, anyways, and found a job where a small village nearby was being raided nightly by a blood drake, a raging, bloodthirsty drake. So they decided that the pay was good, and that they wanted to help these people out. And they went and they killed it using a particularly sickly goat as bait. Lured it out, tracked it down to its lair, and were able to slay it, getting some gold in the process, both from the lair itself, looting some of the unfortunate victims of this creature, as well as from the villagers who paid them for the job well done. You guys then returned to town, and that's basically where we're going to pick up. So, you guys have just gotten back into Tal'Anfagon. You spent 2 nights at that village, essentially. And by the time you arrive again, it's getting towards dinner time, as you are approaching the city gates into the city of Tal'Anfagon. Did you guys want to what was the plan? Did you want to just head back to Melfindians and regroup? You all are fully rested, so. Oops.
I'd like to drop off the drake skin on our way back to the what's his face we met at the bar?
Oh, you want to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is everybody gonna do that?
What were the gems worth? The thing that I didn't write down at any point
because 2 gems worth 50 gold pieces, 10 worth 10.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
But I have to check my notes.
I mean, Will is happy to go as a group. Yeah, I mean, we should go to just be like, yeah, we did it. We're good adventurers as well.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys make your way across the river, crossing New Bridge, and heading back to the Dragon's Tooth Tavern. You enter in and find the tap room more full than last time, as it is getting around drink o'clock, as they might say. You all once again see this large dragon's tooth hanging above the mantelpiece, as a number of people are kind of cheering towards various kinds of victories, having celebrations of their own for their own jobs well done. You do see Ort off at the bar this time, chatting up a different bartender than last time. But he's kind of sitting there. He seems to have already been a little bit into his cups.
I will approach Ort with the dragon skin in hand, or the drake skin.
Hello again. So, you did it?
Yes, we happened to come across the drake, and we killed it.
Yeah.
And
good job.
They, pull off, literal 100 pounds of, drake skin and, set it on the counter.
Yeah. To take a look at it, feel the texture of it. This is very fine. And just for Sean's sake, because they might not, I don't know how much of the episode you watched. This is Meeple's son, Ort, who the party met last session.
That clears that up. Thank you.
He said, "Well, good job. So, you still wanted to trade this for plate mail?"
Yes, I don't have the money on me right now, but I can pay you in part and bring back the rest over.
Well, I'll consider it a down payment. So to move it into his own bag, which you see it kind of boom, slides in and vanishes despite its large size.
Ooh.
And I will pay him 150 gold pieces as a down payment. He'll accept that.
Well, I'm not going to turn down advance payment, but you're welcome to keep it until you have the full sum as well.
All right, I will wait until I have everything on me.
Wouldn't want to leave you without a bit of coin in a pinch. But why don't I buy you and your friends around for completing your first job? At least here. It kind of looks at everybody like waiting, like,
I'm thirsty.
Excellent.
On a drink. Will like sits down.
He will wave over, bartender, oh bartender, whatever they want, and he'll pull in Uba close and say, "So, tell me all about it," and they'll begin to chat a little bit, while the bartender comes up and takes all of your orders.
Just an ale for me. And I'm gonna just position myself where we're at the bar. Not paranoid still at this point, I don't think, but I'm positioning myself at the bar so I have a good view of the crowd and can keep an eye on drunken revelers and see how close they're getting to us.
Okay. So you would have had time to attune to the Hat of Disguise. I'm just curious. Have you used it?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll run the look like got it.
Yep.
The bartender,
still dashingly handsome.
Who is a Chonag bartender, so they've got very like sandy beige skin and tusks coming out from the bottom jaw. Hands you an ale and says, "Here you go. Next."
Can I just get some wine, some nice wine if it's on Ort here?
We could do that. And he'll like rummage underneath the counter for a couple bottles, pull out a couple and like look at them, look at you, then put one back and pour you a glass. Here you go. Some fine Elkhorn wine.
Will smiles and will drink slowly. Maybe they still have work to do.
The Chonag will then look up a little bit at Sulveran and say, and for you?
I'm curious. Do your people have any particular liquor or alcohol?
My people, meaning the Chonag, or you mean the bar?
Specifically the Chonag, but if you find that question offensive, then I suppose the bar.
I'm just clarifying. Sure, I have some special that I keep mostly for myself. And he'll pull out a glass of a milky white liquid, if you can stomach it.
Sulveran will shrug and reach for it.
Right, he'll pour you a big glass.
Will comes from like quite close to Chonag land, provided it's in the same place.
Yeah.
Can I roll history to know about this alcohol?
Sure, I'll allow it. You need an alcohol.
Sulveran's just sniffing it
specifically
while she is inspecting it.
Okay. Well, I saw the die 18. Okay, there it is 25 total. Okay. Yes, you have heard of this. It is fermented milk. Oftentimes from a horse, but it can also be from any other milk-producing animals, cows, whatever. Mostly they make it from goat or horse milk. That they have out on the steppe.
Will's sipping the wine, just watching Sulveran.
Yeah, Sulveran does his thing where he checks to see how alcoholic it is because he doesn't actually like to get incredibly drunk before he tastes it.
It's not that alcoholic. You wouldn't say it's at least this right here wasn't that much more alcoholic than a small ale or something like that.
All right, in that case, he will take a bracing sip.
Okay. Yep. It's a bit strange, fermented milk, but not strictly speaking bad. Very different. You've never tasted something like this before.
He's going to nod his thanks and continue sipping at it. How obvious is Will being about her inspection of his drink?
I mean, she's just looking at you, but she's not trying to hide that she's watching you for your reaction to the drink.
I think
She
he
doesn't
will
really
just
have a need to hide that.
he'll just offer her the glass.
No, thanks. It's got a bit of a too far a melted cheese taste for me.
Yes. Most people from around these parts don't enjoy it very much. Hard to find out here. Make it yourself. Me.
Which animal did you milk for it?
Oh, this came from my horse.
Yeah, well, not that was popular in my hometown. Well, among the drunks.
Well, hope you like it. If you want any more, just let me know. I can always make some more, although it'll take time. Like I said, most people around here don't particularly enjoy it. So I mostly have a personal stock.
It is interesting. Hardy, thank you for sharing it with me.
And if you want to finish it off with a house drink, he'll pour you a black liquid in a small cup. There's some scrum for you.
Sulveran just blinks down at this alcohol and then over to Urt, who is ostensibly paying for all of this.
Art is too busy talking to you, but they're chatting about something conspiratorially.
Oh boy.
After everybody has ordered, I don't think the bartender will also ask what Medea wants. I think I maybe skipped it.
Medea just raises up a hand and
almost forgot about you.
Medea just raises up a hand and does pass on gesture I'm good.
Oh boy. After everybody's ordered, Ort will kind of look at the group and say, "So, how did it go? What's the word? Up for more adventures, or you got other things to do?" I think there's a couple jobs other than the ones I've already told you about. Some of the ones that I mentioned are still up for grabs too. Nobody caught the sand snake yet. It's gonna be a tricky one, I think.
You think we have to take some stock and see whether or not we've got the time to do another job? But as for the Drake, it was surprisingly painless.
Well, you get a good group together, you could do pretty good things,
It's relatively easy to just watch Uber and Medea pound upon a Drake until it was not alive anymore.
Will and Sulveran did a great deal of the work, and I owe Uba for being able to find it. It was a good battle.
Yes, indeed, I was there.
Well, if you need any help with future endeavors, you're always welcome back here.
10,000 gold, if you.
I'm sorry?
Medea just looks at them, not knowing how to convey that was a joke.
Oh. Okay, sure. I get it.
Medea does not laugh. They just continue looking at them and then look away after a few seconds.
Right. So, moving on. What are you guys up to now?
Should probably go back to. Are we? Are we staying at the tower? Is that like? Our current
Melfindian has
accommodations?
said that you can sleep there for as long as you need.
Yeah.
Great. Let's never leave. Let's be those people.
Yeah.
We'll just hire
Let's-
ourselves
no,
out
you-
as bodyguards and just live the rest of our lives in the tower.
19 years ago, you offered us this space for a short period of time. We didn't do anything.
You fool.
I think we.
He tries to
I think
kick us
we-
out, and we start claiming local housing laws against him.
You just kill us. I think it's probably best if we return to Melfindian's tower for the evening, and decide what to do in the morning. Unless and Will kind of just leaves that hanging, but looks at Alveron in case Alveron wants to deal with his stuff tonight rather than wait till tomorrow.
No, I mean, I think just getting back from this, depending on how we want to advance this tonight, I think get back, resettle, reset, climb into a hot bath, scrub ourselves, and then figure out what the plan of attack is.
It'll hop back and scrub. Okay. You all finish your various drinks, and Ort will wave you goodbye as you explain that you have things to be considering, gotta get home. And you leave, reversing Tal'Anfagon by night. Pretty fully set by the time that you are exiting the tavern. The city streets are quiet, apart from a gentle breeze, as most people seem to be indoors getting ready for the night out still, or are already out drinking. It's pretty empty. Eventually, you make your way to Melfindian's tower and are able to get in. You find, as you walk through the threshold and up into the lounge area, you find Kala has kind of set up shop in the lounge. They've got a number of books arrayed around them, and they seem to be in careful study. But they look up as you all enter and will say, "Oh, you're back. Well, how did it go?"
We killed a drake.
And
It's
none of us
relatively
died.
So good then. Well, Mel's out right now, but you're welcome to join me. She kind of turns back to looking at one of the books, scratching her head a little bit.
Walking over, what are the texts she has in front of her? Like subject-wise.
Make an Arcana check.
That's not gonna go well, Andrew.
It's
That's
going to
why
be
I'm
critical.
making you
Sean.
roll.
I'm
Just-
gonna go
put it in
pretty
the
pictures, and that's gonna be it.
Hey, it's pretty good. 19.
Oh, actually,
You spent not an insignificant amount of time with Kala at the library. While everybody else was going to the dragon initially. Most of these books seem to be demonology. A lot of them are about summoning circles. You're kind of looking. You recognize that at least. What they're saying exactly, you have no idea, but you recognize kind of the types of things that she's reading about at the moment.
Just looking over. So, are you looking at circles to keep something in or keep something out?
I'm trying to understand a little bit better how the ritual works by looking at other summoning rituals. Most of the time, when you're summoning a demon, or an angel for that matter, a creature, you'll summon it into a magic circle, which will then trap the creature inside. This process is somewhat emulated for the ritual that I think the party was witnessing on Iracondis, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly how the changes work. I wish I could have gotten a better look at what they were doing at the time. Maybe, Will, you could help me do some descriptions, and we can work on this a little bit. When you
Sure.
all are free, anyways. I don't want to distract from your current goings-ons.
I think Will looks at Alveron and says, well, at least for this evening, I think we're all free. And Will, like, kind of sits down, not, like, as part of Alveron and Kala's, like, looking at the books, but close by, and pulls out the bottle of scrum that she got for Kala. And, like, as, I suppose it's possible that it's better to use our time to investigate summoning as opposed to investigate scrum.
Well, you may be right. I could use a break.
Will smiles and will go find glasses somewhere in this study for enough glasses for everybody. Anybody that wants to partake in some village scrum.
Make an investigation check to find these.
Oh!
Okay.
Why didn't I just say, yeah, I'll help you and roll an Arcana check?
So you begin to look, and you quickly think about it. You remember you have not seen Melvin pull out any glasses from anywhere in the lounge, despite having drunk tea and coffee with him in this room several times. So you kind of have to glance about real quick, and you immediately spot one cupboard. You go into, walk over. It's locked, and you can tell it hasn't been opened in ages. But you make quick work of it by locating a nearby key and open it. And you can see everything is completely dust-filled except for the mugs, which are spotless. And you think that he's probably just been, like, teleporting them in and out of this cupboard, but has never actually opened this cupboard.
What would happen if you replaced a mug with a mug-like object and he teleported that out? Will thinks to herself. And then is not really cunning enough to want to do that. And I guess she'll take out 6 glasses and just, like, in the minute or so it takes her to take them all out, press to digitate each one clean. That's a spell I have, right? Yes.
Yeah, sure.
It is. It's like, wait, I have very few cantrips. I should remember this. Yeah, just make them all clean. Like, lock the cupboard back up and take the glasses over.
I just want you to know that if you had rolled something other than a 20, you would not have found those glasses.
Well, that's fine. Will doesn't think that there's anything special about finding the glasses. Just put that together. It's just a normal way for that to go.
Right.
Maybe if they're summoning, are they definitely? Maybe they're summoning energy into the dragon itself.
That's possible. Certainly.
I'll also
Looks
make an
down at
Arcana
the
check if
books
that
and-
helps.
Yeah, go ahead and make an Arcana check. As you are
This one
both
will be a
contemplating this
3.
again.
Oh no, I'm still rolling good.
We're
That's
rolling
fine.
pretty good tonight. Let's see, we've got 18, 19, 20, 19.
Yeah.
As long as it's just Alveron and Will rolling, this will be great.
Yeah, you're kind of thinking about it, and I mean, part of the problem is that magic circles traditionally can't trap dragons, as they are kind of designed for summoned creatures. But I mean, it's possible to modify those different ways, and you're kind of thinking about it, working out in your head. And you go over, and the two of you make some addendums to her notes that kind of seem to be moving in the right direction. She seems to understand a little bit better what the process is going on here, and you do think it is related to summoning the powers of their deity of Saliel into the dragon. Something about that process is going on here. Ella thinks that you have unlocked at least one piece of this puzzle.
It's more infusement or infusing, I suppose, if you want to use an actual word, than summoning will things. And like while she's been thinking about it, has poured scrum for everyone, like starting with Kala, then Alveron, and then Medea, Sulveran, and then like kind of gives one to Uber, thinking this might not be the best idea. And then will pour herself, presumably like the last bit of the bottle.
Sure. The bottles, I think, is big enough that you only use like half of it in this process.
Great.
You now have a half bottle of scrap.
But it's Kala's.
So who's taking a drink? I know. I think Uba would, so I'm gonna make Uba roll.
Well, I've never had a study party before, so I'm pretty like if this is how people study, I'm just peer pressure.
I don't know that you should learn how to study from Will and Kala.
Anybody who is partaking of the scrum, make me a Constitution saving throw.
You can Uba can have and Sulveran can have a +3 because that's who Medea would sit next to.
Okay, so Uba's got 17. Loren's got a 12, which is Alveron 20.
I learned how to click things properly.
I guess I
I
should
have
have
a
a
10.
roll too. Oh, Kala's not good at this.
Lord.
Oh, but you
Imagine
can
with
roll
like a
well.
DC 25.
I mean, Scrum's not that bad.
It's not that high.
Yeah.
So Sulveran, Medea, even with your +3. Is that being included there? No.
No.
Even
It's
with
a
your
10
+3. The two of you kind of, as you begin drinking, are taking coughs and your eyes are watering slightly, and your head immediately starts to feel a little bit swoony. Everyone else is quite buzzed, even after a couple of drinks, but you're pushing through it without too much issue. Kala will say, "Oh God, that's so bad. Where did you get this?"
What is this? It's a local delicacy. Some kind of. I don't actually know what scrum is. I assumed it was alcohol. It feels like alcohol.
Enchanted, maybe. Ooh. Well, that's a picker-upper, I suppose. I'm not sure how much more studying I'll be able to do now, as they kind of start to close some of the books away, put some of the notes. But I think we've made some progress. And have you all figured out what we're doing about the glances and meets Alveron's eye pirate situation?
I just kind of the scrum is in. I just kind of tip my hat and I'm Kala now. Hold on, does the hat change too, or is it the same hat?
Up to you.
I like the flavor of the hat doesn't change.
There's only one
Does it
permanent
look-
thing in the world,
does it-
and it's that hat.
Easy way to
Does that mean? But does it look like Mr. Gadget's hat? Like, what are we
go
looking at?
gadget.
So I was imagining like a really dirty old sailor's hat type thing, like the one you see little fishermen wearing out on the boats. It's like this thing is obviously older than them, and it's a little
No.
bit creased.
Now Alveron just like looks like my grandpa in my head.
I love the idea that the hat kind of turned itself to the person that was handling it, and for Will it was that hat but more pristine. And like as handing it to Alveron, it was just like it decayed a little bit over time.
Just for
Like-
now, there is like very faint writing, "Women love me, fish fear me," written across the top of the hat.
Well, that is interesting. Well, I have to hand it to you. It is a very good plan, a very good looking plan. Although
I think.
I don't know if you want to transform into me, the other hunted person in the party.
More for just display purposes, and I'll take the hat off and go back to being my dashing self again and
Well,
reset everything.
if we don't need to immediately deal with your bounty by talking to the Lady Stenna's suggested avenue,
That is true.
we could do another quest at the Dragon Tooth Inn, something like that. Although I do think that even with the hat at the space, it might be better to deal with it to give us a little bit more permanent respite for the next few months.
I would like to deal with Alveron's hunted issue as soon as possible. If we're going to be moving or leaving Tal'Anfagon anytime soon, constantly having to pursue discrete transportation is going to make things exponentially more difficult.
I don't disagree with you. Like definitely, I like the thought of advancing this with Lady of Petals and getting this done. My only like it's just kind of more of an out of character thing with Marisa not being here, like plot wise. But if that's like, I just don't know what the mores are on that.
It's okay. Yeah. The only reason we did something different last session was mainly because like we weren't sure if Alveron wanted to do. It was very Alveron.
It would be weird if we had gone and done an Alveron thing.
No.
That's very fair. That is very fair.
But Marisa said it was fine
like we
to
wouldn't do the
have a
Sand
pilot
Snake
Uber.
thing, certainly. Because Uber wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if y'all are good with it, we try to handle this with the Lady of Petals, and then after that point, like Sara said, we should be able to move a lot more freely, not have to worry about this, and kind of more organically pick up where we're going to be going next and what we want to do.
Alveron, is the likelihood that dealing with this here will make it easy for you to move into Tal'Anfagon, or will they no longer be looking for you elsewhere? Do you know the level to which you can deal with this with the lady?
My understanding, and Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my understanding on this, Will, is that this person has enough pull that not just in Tal'Anfagon, I should have a little more freedom from this and freedom from this bounty. I don't know exactly how they enforce that.
The way it was made to sound to you was like this person could probably help you in the majority of this region. Not across the world, perhaps, but at least in and around the desert, you would be safe if you could work out some kind of deal.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, that's definitely better than
if you go to you don't know also how far the captain is, how far afield the captain is looking for you. If you went to like say Twinport, whatever deal you made here wouldn't hold up, but they also might not be looking for you in that area. They kind of spotted you in Karad and presumably focused on places you might be heading.
Gotcha. Okay, so not just this city, but the surrounding region. And since we don't know how big this hunting ground is going to be, yeah, I'm down for it. I have the name Andormedia. Should we ask Malfindian about this when he gets back? Or is this like, does Kala know who this is? If I bring up the name Lady of Petals and mention the history of this and what just happened.
We'll make a history roll for. Well, I don't recognize the name, but I could look into it a bit if you want. I don't know how much I might be able to find in books, though.
Probably someone who lives in the city is our next best bet. I mean, Will, how many times have we gotten the information we need out of a tavern? There's plenty around.
Will smiled because she knows that you are correct for most sailors. It's not really the case for her, but she's like, yeah, you're right. And says, I think potentially Malthavian's probably got the most knowledge of Tal'Anfagon, but I'm always happy to go to a tavern. And she like holds up her now empty scrum glass.
We could also just meet the lady. She didn't seem to be hostile.
It's
The
risk, I
person we
think.
met was pointing us towards this person. Like we haven't met the Lady of Petals yet.
Yeah.
Didn't they give you contact or a way to meet her?
No,
and
I was
said-
just
and
told.
said look for them and bring backup. Was the, I
Oh,
think,
okay.
exact words.
They told you, I'd have to go and rewatch the episode, but I'm pretty sure they told you, like, to check out the orchids. That district would be,
Okay. Yeah, because in my notes I literally just said, like, if you want to find a way to meet up with them, go check out this district at this, like, time in this area.
Go check out the place that Alveron is most likely to be picked up.
Right, like
Um,
the orchids are gunning for
Oh.
me.
Maybe start with Melvindian, and if we do need to go to the tavern, it'll be a bit later when people are deeper in their cups and more likely to speak of these kind of things anyway.
True, and less likely to reach for their knives.
Or less likely to find them if they reach for them.
True. Okay, I mean, I'm sure we have enough alcohol to wait for Malfindian.
Will's done drinking now that we're talking about work, but it's happy to
Oh.
watch everybody else get drunk. Will facilitate other people getting drunk.
We
It's
could
like part of having a crew. You let the crew celebrate sometimes.
What
Who's
about
already
if
asleep.
we went to the Dragon's Tooth Inn and talked to Ort and the others? They would know the city's ins and outs pretty well. Especially if they've done bounty hunting in it.
Do that. We could always ask Orth to come here.
Maybe we could see a tavern in the Orchids. They would probably have the most it'd be the most likely area to have information.
Well, all of these
Also,
are
perhaps
good
the most
options.
interest in our friend here.
That's true. These are all good options. I think that I personally would like to have a bath before we go and deal with this. Particularly if we're going into the orchids to try and find information there. But I can always and we'll like gesture vaguely in the direction of where the Dragon's Tooth Tavern is. Send a missive to Ort and see if he'll come and give us some information about these kind of things. Maybe he'll be interested in meeting a lady of the Petals.
Could work.
Be helpful. A night of rest wouldn't hurt too. I'm not exactly the most up there. And, like, they point to their head and then point to the bottle.
Oh, you'd like some more? We'll pour some more into your glass.
Medea drinks them more while, like, saying, yes.
Yeah. So let's do this with plan of attack for tomorrow then. Get a good night's rest, get a good bath, talk to Malfindian over breakfast maybe, and then if we need more information, we can seek out Ort again, and then try to nip this shit in the bud.
Yeah, sounds good.
You all, after sitting around for a little bit and having this discussion, start to break for the night, do your nightly goings on. This bathe, maybe get a spot of food, just asking one of the unseen servants. But eventually, you all drift off to sleep. You are you awake in the morning to find that Indian has indeed returned to the tower. Is sitting in the lounge, contemplating a scroll as you guys are getting up and doing your morning things.
Hmm.
Eventually, some of the servants, probably the cat familiar, actually will come to inform you that breakfast is ready if you should choose to come to it.
Yeah, will follow the cat.
Ow. Walks away.
Well, all right. I'm probably the most prompt one. Like,
Hmm.
heads to the table.
Milf Indian is already there and eating. As opposed to like the dinner that you guys had when you first got here. This is pretty simple. Like they'll kind of make you whatever you want, but there's not like a spread made or anything like that. So there's probably some eggs, some bacon, some porridge, that kind of thing.
We will grab some bacon and some eggs and sit down, and then get like an extra plate that's just bacon and put it in the spot like next to her that Uber normally sits, just so that Uber has like when Uber gets a table with food has an extra plate of bacon.
Of course.
Uber will come and hungry.
Start throwing. We should use bacon as throwing knives at Uber to like. What's on the scroll you're reading, Mel?
Oh, well, I picked this up the other day. I've just been reading into it. It's a spell scroll. Trying to see if I can learn the spell. It's a bit beyond my capabilities, but I think that well, certainly I should be able to cast it as a scroll. I
Will's
spend
eyes
some time
flicker
on
at
it.
something beyond Mel's abilities. Would you be offended if I also had a look? Just like over his shoulder.
He nods. You're more than welcome to it.
Great. Will's like getting really into scrolls, and it's like really thinking about them. It's like, because also they're pretty to Will. It's like this is arcane writings that are pretty. Can I tell what spell it is?
Make an Arcana check as you begin to study it. You can tell it's very complex, sort of magic involved here. 15.
15.
You're not sure exactly what the spell is. You know it's an abjuration spell, and it has something to do with repulsing magic energy. But the scope of it makes the exact spell unclear to you.
Will tries to look at it, and the arcane magic is just like, I am an abjuration spell. He's like, I don't care about spell schools. Go away. Leave me alone. She looks at it and goes, well, if it's beyond your skill, it's no surprise that I can barely make any of it out. And she smiles and like pats him on the shoulder and says, I'm sure you'll get it, and I'll give him a level of bardic inspiration.
Okay.
That's a good thing to use when we're about to start a day that might involve a fight.
Would you like to know what spell is on this scroll?
Sure. I'm always happy to learn spells, talk about arcane magics and the like.
This is actually an anti-magic field. I think it might be useful in the event that, well, somebody does try to raid my tower for this book. I myself am limited to just a less power than this particular spell. So well, although I am remembered very well for my spells, I am not an archmage. Actually, I I would like to think as good with a sword.
Will smiles and says, the problem with stories is that they're often inaccurate. If I ever come to tell the story on a larger scale, potentially with the blessing of Vesta, I'm going to make Uba an axe wielder. I think it'll be an interesting change. I like the violence of an axe for the axe that Uba does.
Uba like glances at you and says, "But that's not right. I use axes. I use daggers." Al looks down at his daggers.
Will says,
This one.
Will smiles and says, "There's no difference between an emerald-encrusted hatchet versus an emerald-encrusted dagger 400 years from now." But also, I've heard you tell stories of your exploits.
Is it really much more of an exaggeration than your own stories?
Suppose not. Still, I would like to think that you could make a dagger sound imposing.
The way will describe your bloodlust and carnage and general gore and viscera, it will sound plenty intimidating anyway.
It's not about the brutality and violence, it's about the expertise with which you wield a hatchet. Think about it this way: everybody expects the dagger wielder to be precise. Nobody expects the hatchet wielder to be precise.
That's because a hatchet is not a precise weapon.
But in stories, a hatchet can be whatever you like. It could be a hatchet of the skies, for example. Pointed Alveron's hat. I assume we're all down here now.
Yeah.
If Medea's here for breakfast, I assume everybody's
Yeah,
here.
everybody's
Yeah.
there.
I do not like stories that contain lies. You should tell more than the truth.
The truth is history. Stories are about adventure and inspiration. They're different. They serve different purposes.
And I will publish a book of our accurate history after some time.
It would be interesting to see whether the story prevailed or the accurate history is according to Medea.
What stories do you plan to tell of me then?
I don't plan to tell any stories. I'm just saying, at the end of this, if I was taken with the idea of telling stories of our exploits, I would give Uber a hatchet. It's not really that divisive.
Would you also
I
have
would turn Uber into a gnome. That's more divisive.
Hey,
Would you perhaps have
appreciate
Sulveran fall off a wall at some point?
No, I'm not sure that Will would feature in the story of what happens to our group, but certainly there'd be no falling off walls unless it was a much higher wall and a much more dramatic fall.
As
I'll
I'm,
keep note.
like grabbing hash browns and putting eggs on a plate to just mess this. Just that catches my eye and my ear real quick, and just look at Will. You'd write yourself out of your own story?
Will kind of looks at Alveron and shrugs and says, "There's no need for there to be so many characters, particularly if one's job is to merely facilitate the strength of her crew."
You either have
You
a
all
very
do the
low
hard
or very high opinion of yourself, and I can't tell which it is.
Will smiles and says, "Most days I can't tell which it is."
Hmm.
Perhaps it's a bit easier to avoid people going after you if you're not in your own stories of grandeur.
I'm also a human. I will be dead in the future. It's not the case for a lot of people, but it is for me.
I really don't see how you could tell this story without its leading lady, but that's just
They
my
fall off
opinion.
a wall at the
That
beginning.
Kala?
Yeah, that's Kala saying that.
Oh. Alright. I will roll a wisdom save for Will to be flattered.
With safe as to be like
You're not.
flattered
It's
if
not a
you
charm.
succeed?
It's not a charm spell, Will.
Will is charmed.
It is to Will.
Yeah, Will's like, alright. If anyone's the
They've been
leading lady,
convinced.
it's surely you, Kala, but anyway. Mel, do you know anything about the Lady of the Petals?
Kind of
It's a
like
good divergent.
Great
Yes.
segue, Will.
he's looking at his scroll and he goes, like, what's it you says? I've heard a few things as a very important person living in the city. Those sorts of things are well, not my focus, you could say. Uh, but yes, I have heard of the Lady of Petals, as they have proclaimed themselves. They are a sort of overseer of the criminal uh, in this city and uh, throughout the region. Not the head of a gang or anything like that. More of a broker, a peacemaker. A bit of a strange thing. Not heard of such a person in other cities. Um, but they are supposedly very influential, connected. Hard to find unless you know the right people.
Sounds like
What?
her. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. What's their like? How do they enforce keeping the peace between these different factions? What's their strength? What's their leverage?
Well, I suppose reputation. They're supposed to be fairly powerful, and they command respect. Um, I suppose in some ways, like myself, you could say. As for mechanisms, I'm sure bribes, knowledge, secrets, any number of things, really.
All right.
Um,
Will, sorry, I cut you off.
being hard to kill, of course, is always helpful. If you can't kill the person, you have to deal with them.
I was just going to say that it sounds like her job is to solve problems, and we have a problem that she could solve. It will potentially cost us something, but I think we all expect that. It might be best to just try and be a little bit above board with her about how we're approaching it. Going around and asking in many different taverns for information about her may set off some alarms that we don't want to set off.
Or perhaps you do if you're trying to find this person. I should
We want to find her on good terms.
be clear. I imagine that their power is also there is a fear element. You cannot find them, but they can find you, and if you piss them off, well, you're much easier to kill in comparison.
What's their connection to the Orchids? Is that just their street level front gang?
Well, it depends on what you mean. The Orchids is not a single gang. It's a number of gangs vying over a territory. The most powerful currently and noteworthy in the news, so to say, is the Blue Orchids. But there are other smaller factions and gangs in the city. It's sort of a new thing. When I was growing up, nobody ever really thought of doing something like that. But, you know, there are more than just Elcar that live here now, and even many of the Elcar are more interested in coin and other sorts of power than joining up with the city guard or becoming an adventurer or a merchant, a farmer.
Do you know if any royalty have ever been involved in these gangs?
Not to my knowledge, no. Use them, maybe, but, well, make an insight check. Anybody wants to.
Actually, can I make a history check to check about
Ooh.
rumors in it?
Will, we spent all of our luck.
About rumors of, like, the...
Yeah, like royalty being.
Not really a history thing, I don't think.
Okay.
I wasn't going to roll this roll, so I'm glad it was bad. I was like, yeah, okay, I don't think we'll get this. Sulveran, the most insightful of us all.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Sulveran, he says no, but like you also get the sense that he's like, well, like in the back of his mind, he's like, I say that, but I'm perhaps not sure anymore. Is the vibe you get from him? You're not sure why, but that's just the sense. He like almost demurs a little bit at the end. But
I think Sulveran is going to tilt his head and kind of lean back a little, but he is not saying anything to the very powerful wizard about the seeming mild deceit, deferment.
I mean, going in that vein, you could always seek help from the Suthan, although, well, you might have more luck with his sister. The Suthan doesn't really care that much about politics and concerns of this sort.
So we could owe a favor to the Lady of the Petals, or potentially to the Suthan's sister.
Yes, you met her actually when you were coming in to my tower for the first time.
Oh, the picturesque lady.
Yes, that's a good way. Good description.
Well, smiled. Well, I have a personal preference for if we're to owe favors to somebody, I'd rather it not be a criminal. But Alveron, as with all things about your pirate issues, I will leave the final decision to you.
I will tell you, between the two options, well, the Sathier would drive a harder bargain, most likely, than any criminal that I've ever met.
I'll say as well, I feel like we already have an in with this Lady of the Petals. At the very least, a connection through my old fence. With the Sultan, I worry that we'll get caught up in further political machinations. My
Right.
gut says go with the Lady of Petals.
Is this out of character or in character?
This is in character, just
Okay.
talking with Will and Malfindian.
Most certainly, if you tried to go with the Sathier, the Suthan's family, you would be caught up in political man. I did mention a secretive job, and when you first arrived, I don't know if you remember, and it does involve them. The reward there is great, but it's
What
not
exactly
going to
is
be
the
easy.
reward?
Oh, well, potentially far more gold than you could hope to gain otherwise. Prestige, of course.
Right. All right.
Renown.
Alveron, I think you're probably right that we should use the in that you already have from Lady Stenna to try and deal with your issues from that direction. However, I would very much like to come back to this enormous amount of money and prestige. What we're
I don't
after is
disagree with you there. If we can do both, if we can use this to secure my safety, the group's safety, and then once we no longer have the criminal underground on all of our backs, pivot to the political machinations and securing ourselves politically and socially.
Once we could use that to permanently deal with the problem, if we could route that power to deal with former comrades.
and then we're not asking for anything when we go to help them. We're merely helping, which puts us more in a position of giving them favor if we are successful in their very secret mission.
repeat this so I may understand. Our intention is to seek aid from the underground and then attempt to curry favor with. You just
We would be.
No. We're making it sound all very, very duplicitous. We're going to deal with Alveron's thing by negotiating with the Lady of the Petals, and then we'll inquire with the Suthana's sister about this job that Malfindian has mentioned. We are equipped to do a great deal of jobs. We will potentially be more equipped after we deal with the Lady of the Petals. We are a commodity. We should sell ourselves.
Plus,
And-
if we can rally this power, it would give us position and allies we could use in the future to long-term deal with Sulveran's issue beyond this region.
Think of it less.
Alveron's
Yeah. Think of it less of entrenching ourselves in the underground in order to work for royalty, more getting rid of the very large black spot attached to me so that
give
the
us
nobility
freedom.
doesn't see a stain that they need to wipe out before we begin working for them.
can we truly sell ourselves to both clients?
Selling ourselves to either. It's the same as we did a job for the Dragon Tooth Inn. It wouldn't preclude us from doing jobs for other things in our capacity as adventurers. Also, we're not selling ourselves. Well, depends on how the negotiations go with the Lady of the Petals.
Yeah. Besides, you know the old expression: every man can serve two masters.
That is not how the expression goes.
Sulveran is
heard
going to
it that
nod
way, actually.
gravely, and like he's like mentally writing that down. Every
The-
man can serve two masters. This is not what we say among my people.
I've heard that expression. My version of it has a second half that Alveron's leaving out.
Perhaps you would be right. Every man can serve two masters. But for how long, Alveron?
Stream is PG-13, right? I can say as long as your stamina allows.
A lot.
Yeah.
We'll, to the audience, we'll cut that. We'll cut that in the YouTube upload if
No,
I
it's going
violated
in.
No.
society.
Go to
Wait, when you cut anything, do you know how much work it would be to cut something from the YouTube upload? That's so much work.
There's just a censor bar that goes across my face whenever I say something inappropriate.
Medea's
The Imris
just,
Saga does not condone this kind of talk.
Medea's gonna look to Alveron and say, I doubt you have that kind of stamina.
I was a
Alright, I think-
sailor for many years. Do we
We're
really want
getting
to
off
question?
track.
Yeah, we should.
All right, but anything but that. Anyways, so my vote is the Lady of Petals in order to remove the besmirch on the group caused by me, and then once we have this issue cleared.
I do like the idea that we deal with the Lady of the Petals to do the Alveron stuff, but I am very interested in the doing something for the royal family because what we need to do in this time is gain power to go after saving Torres. And even if we do that job and all it is that it gets us money or favor for magic items and stuff, that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of you in that library, Will. Like with your newfound book addiction, the Royal Library has to have.
Will does not care for books that much, but
You
yes.
care about what the books have written in them.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, we just said Calor in there, right?
I also go in favor of doing that plan of talking to the lady first. Plus, out of character, I think it's just going to be the more upfront and interesting option.
Yeah, I think the other one's going to be more interesting. I think the other one we need to deal with this more pressing matter first.
Yeah.
So what did the lady, your fence, tell you about speaking to the Lady of the Petals?
So my best understanding is the Blackened Sky is going to be here in about 3 months. My old fence, Stena, has contracts and arrangements with them to come here. And she's going to be working as their fence. But we should be able to talk with the Lady of Petals, and in exchange for services rendered, the standing bounty that's on me and many of the issues surrounding me in the region, essentially, my understanding was we do something for her. She makes it so that other people know, don't touch him while he's here. He's in my sphere of influence. He's paid his debt to me. Don't touch him. Which, considering the interplay she has with the local gangs, makes sense from an enforcement standpoint. So if we're willing to do that and willing to work with her on that, we should be fine in this region. How far that region extends with her, I don't know. But I don't think it's insubstantial.
What kind of precautions would we take when going into the orchids as well? Do we want to present ourselves as a threat you wouldn't want to fight? Try and make ourselves seem out of the way.
I look over at Will. Do you think
Will
they
says-
understand parlay?
Will kind of shrugs and says, maybe. I'm not really as comprehensively versed in the way of criminals on land. I know a bit more about it on the sea, but I think the nature of her role is that if we made it clear that we were looking to do a deal with her, she would probably reach out to us. We just have to I think we should not make ourselves look like a threatening force, because the element of surprise is important in these situations as well.
As a
I agree with
panther,
that.
then
I
a
also
lion.
think, if we walk in like a bunch of swagger cocks, that's just exactly how you get slapped down.
Yeah.
Do you think putting out messages in Blue Orchid territory, asking around, greasing a few palms at local taverns, maybe I'll look over at Melfindian. What's the drug trade in the city like?
Oh, I can answer the drug trade in Tal'Anfagon questions. We'll go back and I have it somewhere. I think we. Oh my god, my notes are so bad.
There was the drug called Otias, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's being imported
bad is
in.
that?
So
Yeah. Basically, the Blue Orchids are trading a fairly potent drug at the moment. That they are having smuggled in. But they are like the corner of that drug trade, and that's the most that's the new hip thing. It's what the kids are doing. The 150-year-old Elkaran kids.
Do you think dropping hints to some of these street pushers, buy a little bit of product and let it get back through the pushers would be a way to do that?
I think that probably the speed of access is the best way to do it. What says? What if we sent some of our less subtle party members, and kind of looks at Sulveran and Medea, to just go ask about doing a deal with the Lady of the Petals? Sometimes being duplicitous and trying to think things through too far can maybe be a problem. These two will just go in and tell the truth, right? That we need to speak to the Lady of the Petals.
Medea
I am-
politely cracks their neck and looks to Sulveran. This works for
I
me.
like it.
I am not overly a fan of subterfuge. On that note, could you possibly explain this meaning of the word fence? I do not think I understand.
Oh,
Will-
it's literal.
Fence is somebody who sells something for a criminal organization through semi-legal means.
Right.
We'll look
So
at
if I
Sulveran
have,
to see if those words all make sense.
Somebody who can sell something for people who acquired something illegally without catching the eye of the law.
So additional thieves.
Yes, thieves with more paper.
Understood.
Bureaucrat thieves.
Charming.
Not nearly genteel.
So me and Sulveran go to the Orchids district and make it known we're looking to talk with a representative of the Blue Orchids or the Lady Petals herself. And then we wait to hear
No,
back.
I think it's important that we want to deal with the Lady of Petals. I don't I think if we meet with a representative of the Blue Orchids, that representative will want to claim the bounty. I think the money means too much to most people. Also, you should take Uber with you.
Oh, makes sense. All right. Do you want? Will, why would we not bring you if you have the sharpest tongue?
Because I have a propensity to try and negotiate and haggle and manipulate conversations, and it's perhaps not the best thing in a situation where we just want blunt force.
All right, I can do that. Blunt force is my specialty.
Sulveran just like looks
Also-
at his alpenstock. It is not precisely blunt, but it will do.
All right.
Media will put their shield on the back and take the spear they have and transform it into a full-sized pike. Oh,
Unwieldy in this room.
yeah. Well,
I mean, we're literally eating breakfast, Medea. It was like still snacking on bacon. Hang on, I'm looking something up that Will would know that Jack doesn't know off the top of Jack's head. That idiot. Also, my internet's slow because I'm watching the stream on a separate thing. Melvinian, do you perhaps have any scrolls of sending?
I might have a few, yes.
You think if my memory of how scrolls works is correct, and Will is like pretty sure that she is right, but always fishing for being corrected by better people at these kind of things. Sulveran would be able to cast a scroll of sending. It's a cleric spell. That's what I had to look up.
Yes. From what I know about your
Provided-
abilities, that should be doable.
Provided it's within the capabilities of our good friend Cleric here. That might be useful for if you're heading in our direction and things have gone a little bit worse than they hopefully will. If you're willing to potentially loan us the scroll of sending / give us the scroll of sending.
I will give you the scroll, but do not be overly reliant on my help.
Of course. Also, with this plan, I do get to spend the morning with Kala. And Will kind of looks at Kala and, like, it's definitely not bloody this time, but Will's trying more. And it's like, I did have something to ask you about, perhaps a way that you could use your quite considerable skills, Kala.
Well, if that's what you need, of course.
Great. I don't know if you were here for it, Charlie, but you're going to get a scroll of sending so that you can message us back if something bad happens.
I think Sulveran is going to take the scroll, having had it described to him, and look to Will. I do not overly enjoy the idea of somebody else's voice being in my head. But if that is what you deem necessary,
In that case, just message me and I won't respond. You just need to give us correct information so I don't need to ask you a question.
he just nods.
And if I do respond, it will be in Gnomish.
Well, that will be effective, I'm sure.
Sulveran is my favorite gnome.
Sulveran 6 gnomes in a trench coat, 2 for the arms. But yeah, I'm happy with that plan because it puts zero pressure on Will to do anything, which is where Will wanted to be today.
He is going to take a second. So, I have to ask, Milf Indian, are mounts allowed on the street of Tal'Anfagon?
Tal'Anfagon, yes, you can ride your horse. Of course.
Right. Give me a few minutes and I will have that ready. And they're going to head outside to go cast Find Steed. They will take off that second level slot.
Sulveran is going to decide against taking any of the bacon in his kerchief and exit after them.
Sulveran puts half in an eaten sandwich. I might need that for later. You're taking Uber with you as well, right? So that there is one person
Yeah.
with some charisma. Like,
Yeah.
okay. I think Sulveran and Uber have the same charisma. But
Perhaps.
Medea has horrible charisma, just detrimentally awful.
Uber's
the
got
good
+1.
news, Will kind of like reclines slightly in the seat after everyone's left and looks at Alveron and says, maybe we could have handled it through more duplicitous manners, but this way, you're not out on the street, and we get to see how they handle this task.
I raise a piece of bacon to you and salute. Take a bite. I'm excited to see how this plays out. What could go
Will
wrong?
is drinking coffee. Exactly. We'll come back and Uber will be covered in blood. It'll be fine.
It is the giant elk. But he is going to ask Uba, look at Uba and say, when we get to the orchids, what if you were to stand on my shoulders and ask bluntly for the meeting? Good spread. That's what we were asked to do, weren't we? Bluntly and quickly get this done. Oh. We could do it in a tavern, that works for me.
Sulveran's just gonna shrug his shoulders lightly. I am curious, all of this talk about who these people and what they do, is shouting it aloud going to get us arrested?
I don't imagine so if we're in a criminal part of the city. Nobody's really going to want to report us to the guards lest they catch the attention themselves.
And guards do not patrol these areas of the city? That seems the places that you would want them the most.
A tavern? Imagine not. Well, how would you go about it? That's true, but if he doesn't, do we just continue to ask random people at the bar? Well, we can try that. I was just assuming we would, make it known and then leave. Well, that's as far as I understood what we were trying to achieve. Dumb or blunt is sort of the same fact here. No, your idea sounds much more effective. I just don't understand social. Yeah. Okay. I don't have Marissa's touch for it though. Okay, well it's still fine. My friend was Theria. We'd like to chat with them. You get the word out. And Medea will pull gold from their purse. Like 5 gold pieces. Okay. Do I do it with strength or charisma? Okay.
Sulveran is just standing there, looking very large, very expressionless, with his kind of like shoulder up against Medea's.
Okay. 1d20 minus 2. A 5. Me, not in particular. Uba, do you want something? Alright. Well. Mhm. Mhm. Alveron does?
Sulveran.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, Sulveran with his usual only half-hearted attempt to remain subtle as he does so, just elbows Medea, and then kind of he would elbow Uba, but they're too short, so he just kind of like edges his like hip against them a bit.
Medea will look to Silver and like, what? What is it?
Just sort of jerks his head a bit, gesturing.
That's a person, all right. And Medea will look directly at the person like Silver and is gesturing to.
Well, he was following us. It seems that we might return the favor.
Why? Okay, so we follow them. Can I make
is
like a
either-
wisdom? Can I make like a wisdom check to see if this seems like a very bad idea? Yeah, just like raw wisdom.
It is
16.
either an invitation or, well,
He's just going to say, they may try to murder us if we follow them. That could be a very likely one.
would you like for me to, and he like taps his bag where he's kept the scroll, do the thing first?
That would be smart. We could tell them we're being followed and that we're going to go investigate further into the city. Come back with what we find, so that if we don't report back, they know to look for us. I leave it up to Sulveran.
I think perhaps we just pay very close attention to what direction we're going in, and if I need to use it, I will do so when it becomes necessary.
Can I give Uba advantage? God, advantage never does anything when I give it. I mean, that's not terrible. Can I make an investigation check on the surrounding area? Nat 20. How tall are the buildings? Like 15, 20 feet? Okay. How many archers are there? Well, you repeated yourself twice, so it seems we're at an impasse in the battle of wits. Very brave is what I'll go with. We were told she could help us get rid of a bounty on a friend's head. Well, I was. It's a, it's a friend's bounty. Friend who has the bounty on them had a second friend tell us if he could help in specific. We're good at handiwork, and we're adept fighters. And presumably, people who aren't with me have additional skills I've yet to mention, because that's up to them if they want to offer it. An escaped man from the blackened sky.
That is the name we know him by, yes, Alveron. A fence. He looks over to Medea to see that he's using the word correctly.
Medea.
Suggested that we speak to your lady.
That was the advice we were given, and I'm not sure how else to seek out something like that. Appreciate the cooperation. Where can we meet you in the future to discuss? Just somewhere to talk. Right? Mhm. As well as it could have gone. Well, we tell Will and Alveron we're back back on our way home. Requested.
Hmm.
If we are already headed back to the tower, yeah, I think Sulveran will shrug his shoulders at Medea. I do not think that they are in such earnest need for news that the difference of how far away are we above board?
Mhm. Okay.
That a difference of an hour or two will make such a difference. Perhaps if we cannot find our way back, or we find ourselves in, and he just gestures where the arrows, the archers were.
It is unfortunate I didn't get to show that I could make my way to quite easy. But it
Can you
is
say that again?
fortunately, Medea says, it's unfortunate I didn't get to show how easily it's been to reach them, but it is fortunate we didn't have to. But you're right, I think we can wait the hour.
Yeah, so they'll probably just head back on foot, following Uba.
Hmm.
I think Sulveran is going to shift, kind of moving Uba to like not between him and Medea, but like to like a more front point by kind of falling
Mhm.
back a little bit. And he is going to, with a complete lack of casualness or charisma, say, perhaps we should check out this district before we return to the tower. And he just like points in whatever random direction, puts them what he thinks is out of the general area. Yeah, that's what I figured it'd be. Silvera just blinks slowly and then a deep nod.
Medea will, as a bonus action, just dismiss them out. That's, yeah, no, that's yeah. Does Uba give us pass without a trace? Okay. Okay.
It's always nice to get that worst roll out of the way first when you're running with disadvantage.
Powerful stealthing. People who are listening, it's also actually a -1, not a 0. But I don't think it displays negative numbers. Yeah, like yeah, they're always going to be ones out.
I do. I just Will wants to ask Kala to use her charming personality to acquire like any free scrolls from like various magic stores or like cheap scrolls for Will. Just like any wizard scrolls for whatever.
Hmm.
Sure, I like the pretty pictures. I think we've talked about the fact that I'd like to start dabbling in some of your less flexible, more rigid magic, and scrolls seem like a good way to start. I normally have a point, Kala. And then I'll also give Kala. Yeah, yeah. Will's feeling confident in the other three. Like, Will's like, this will work because I judge people so well, and they wouldn't just wander around and shout in the street. We're looking for like that. They'll achieve this. I'm proud of them already. So Will's confident, and I'll give Kala like 110 gold or something, like for scroll acquisition. Sure, it doesn't have to be now. Just whenever you're wandering the streets, I might not have quite the time luxury that I perhaps would like to have in Tal'Anfagon. No, I had a new coat made when we met. Remember? Will like justice to it. Also, I never get touched in combat, so none of my clothes ever needs real fixing. All right. Yes. Also, if you find me a new shirt, I'm not comfortable with this as a concept, but sure. If it gets me to the scrolls, you do what you need to do, Kala. Also, some scrum. I really like it.
Oh lord.
Okay. Apples. I really feel like some apples. Alveron, do you need anything? Kala's going shopping apparently.
I'm good with apples, honestly. Crisp ones, not the mushy ones though.
Good
Always
apples,
mushy
obviously.
ones on ship.
Also, not just 2 apples. Why would you just a bushel of apples, Kala? Sure. Great, fantastic. You've been muted.
For a little bit. Yeah, I muted to sneeze. That's okay.
Oh,
Great, that's
we
fine.
could still hear you. We're just on the.
Yeah, I was muted for the stream.
Oh.
That'll be
Just the
fine.
sneezing.
It's a
Sorry,
good
guys.
thing that people were
I
Yeah,
think context
that's all.
context clues.
I don't think that Will needs more, but we'll like get Carla to like write down something and then go, no, actually, I don't need that. Just to be like, you didn't need to make a list. I know, like, your capabilities, Carla. You could have just remembered these 3 things. And you suggested the shirt.
Yes, but I'm writing it down to prove a point because we are doing a bit here.
Oh, yes, sure. You're very funny. Carla, you're
She shakes
the
her head.
sunshine in the morning, I suppose.
Get used to you calling me that.
All right.
Okay. Well, I will get all this stuff the next time I am out.
Great. We'll find a reason to be in a different room for a bit.
Okay.
Wondering why she never wins these things with Carla.
Can't win. Just can't. Eventually, after this conversation happens, the other 3 walk in rather loudly. You can hear Medea clank, clank, clank from upstairs. Everyone will gather again in the lounge to sort of report. You're all sitting down. Elfindian having made some tea and coffee.
Well, I do believe that we have not only made the friends you are interested in us obtaining, but perhaps we won't even need to go seek them out again.
You were able to make contact.
Sulveran just looks at Medea and then at Uba to decide if contact is the appropriate euphemism for what just happened.
We did make contact. They're going to seek us.
Oh.
Great. Did they say anything else?
They called us stupid, but our methods weren't.
Perfect. That was the point.
Yeah,
Nobody's ever intimidated by stupid people.
we were
Of course
ambushed,
you're not.
quote unquote.
Sure. Will laughed at
Ambush?
the concept that the 3 of you would be ambushed by bandits. Sure. Did you need to kill any of them?
Not yet.
I think they underestimated us.
I think they just didn't want to have to deal with bullshit covering up murder.
Let's assume they underestimated you and didn't want to deal with bullshit covering up of murder.
They definitely know that where we went. We were certainly followed back. For sure.
Well, they're going to contact us, so it's kind of the purpose of
Mhm.
that, I suppose.
Let me clarify that. Medea and I were followed.
That's true.
Uba was not.
That's a good
I think
point.
Will's passing logistically and semantically where that actually sits. And so somebody followed the exact same path that Uba took back, but Uba wasn't followed.
To be fair, I could hardly follow Uba.
Good job, Uba. Okay.
I think it's fair to say I did most of the work in that one.
All right. I'm glad that I'm not still employing you. I feel like you'd want a bonus. So I guess we just wait. But good news, Cal is going to get apples.
I quite
Well.
like apples.
3 bushels of apples.
What about
Do
meat?
you want to continue the Elkaran lessons while we wait? Medea will put their weapon down.
Sure, yes, we can. I'm happy to do some Elkaran, I suppose. I think Will was not planning on doing anything else. Sure, also get some meat, Carla. You're right.
And meat.
Pork goes real well with apples.
Lamb.
Also some bread.
You know, I think Melfindian has all of this stuff.
That does seem likely, yes. But you're the one that really insisted on making a list. Will's come back and decided not to lose. I will not lose.
Well, I'm going to go and do this shopping list. You all have fun with your plan.
Great. And you didn't even need to use the scroll of sending, Sulveran.
Sulveran is going to pass it directly from his bag straight into Will's hands. Imagine that.
Will takes it, and is Melk still around? We'll just give it to Melk, but otherwise,
Yeah, he's kind of doing his own thing, but he's around. See, you're more than welcome to keep it if you ever need it in a pinch.
all right. That's very kind of you. Very generous.
Well, there are older scrolls from back when I sponsored adventurers. I don't have a particular need of them myself. Cast the spell quite easily. I'm rarely in so dire straits that I need to save the capability.
Will smiled and says that. Well, it's good to have for a Sulveran and suppose Kala even.
Very useful.
Anyway, apparently there's Alcaran lessons if you'd like to come and judge both Medea and my Alcaran.
And who will be teaching who?
Theoretically, I'm teaching Medea because I'm a few hours ahead. But,
This will be entertaining, and I am happy to help. The three of you then will kind of go and do a little, language lessons while the others are doing their own business. Does anybody want to do anything before you guys are contacted of particular import?
No, I gave all my
Shopping
money to
items,
Kala for
anything
scrolls.
like that?
Yeah, mine would just be flavor at this point.
Okay.
I'm nervous, so I'm just gonna be waiting it out in the house, preferably up on the roof if I can.
The roof of the tower.
Absolutely, there's a lot of wind up there.
The crow's nest. It's fine.
Better. Yeah, I feel better up there in the wind. I'm just gonna go up and hang out there and just totally not freak out right now.
Yeah. I think if it's noticeable, Sulveran might follow Alveron up there, if only to tell him how unsavory the friends that they are trying to make on his behalf appear to be.
I like that.
Most of the day passes by until around the time, a little bit after dinner, around the time you would all be trying as much as you can to kind of. Kala has since returned, given Will a number of spell scrolls. You said you give him 110 gold?
Yeah, I also can't use them yet, so
Okay. Yeah, well,
It's
I'll
not
work it
really
out then,
long.
what they give you. It's
Yeah.
mostly first level spells, kind of spells.
yeah. Also, now's a good time for a break, just timing wise.
Yeah. I'll continue the narration for a little bit. As you all are kind of still waiting, eventually Milfindian will say, well, there's somebody at the door for you, Alveron.
Gotcha. Head downstairs. As I'm moving through the tower, just kind of like catching people's eye and tapping and we're down. Just trying to collect people as we go downstairs.
I will, as Will joins the slow walk through the foyer, we'll say, it's going to be all right. We'll get this bounty sorted and then on to bigger and better, richer things, and I'll give you bardic inspiration.
I'm less worried about this meeting. I'm worried about what the hell they're gonna ask us to do.
Yeah. But maybe it's less if you this bardic inspiration's useful.
There we go. All right. I make it down to the front door. and come down into the foyer, into the landing.
Right. They're actually waiting at the door, like on the other side.
Oh, all right. Then I'll open the door.
Or open these double doors. And you see, kind of standing out there is a pretty, fairly short-looking figure. Again, hooded, cloaked, masked, and they will hold up a letter. You can see on the letter it's like stamped with a large petal. This is for you.
Reach out, take it. When I take it, do they like immediately turn and walk away, or am I just standing there holding a letter, looking at them for a split second?
They are waiting.
Okay, I will break the seal and open the letter.
Okay, you open the letter. Oh, I lost somebody's game. You
Charlie was having audio issues.
Sorry. You begin to look, read it over, and you see it says, Alveron, how interesting that you are seeking me out. I would be very interested in meeting you. If you come to the docks, I'll give you a tier number. It is in the Wharf District, but not that far actually from where the tower is. You can meet me on a ship. It will be docked here, and we can discuss potential payment for services rendered in the form of relieving you bounty while you are within my territory.
Gotcha. I look it over, read it over twice just to commit it to memory, make sure I have it, and turn back to the masked figure. And for the sake of politeness, for propriety's sake, does your mistress expect a letter in return, or is it acceptable for me to give my affirmation to you?
I can speak for my lady in this instance. I take it you are going to attend that.
I accept her invitation most gladly. I will see you there. I assume my compatriots, with no ill intent, are welcome alongside me.
Yes, you and those strange fellows may come along.
Sulveran is watching this person fairly carefully, trying to kind of suss out if they're, the kind of scum and villainy we want to be spending our time with.
Sure. This could be perception or insight, I guess. Up to you.
Like insight.
What?
No.
I mean, you're just so out of the realm of what you're used to. It's hard to tell. This person just feels like negative towards you. You wouldn't want to interact with them or their, whoever they serve personally. But yeah, guess it depends on what they want you to do. The person will then say, very well. We're going to be meeting tonight. Don't be late. Wait until the 10th bell. And they will tap. And the letter in your hand kind of just bursts into flame. And they'll begin to walk away before casting. I think Will would definitely know a teleportation spell and zipping off somewhere.
Damn.
Can I roll an Arcana check to know more specifically the spell?
Sure.
16.
Sure. Look.
If it's Misty Step, then that's all like show. But if it's Dimension Door, that's just like all right. If it's Teleport,
Not teleport, yeah.
11/7 spell.
They dimension doorway.
Okay. I was like, grudging respect for you, masked individual. So,
Alright.
tonight?
Tonight at 10th Bell, we have the pier number, we have the description of the ship, and I'd be willing to bet that going down by the wharf, we're not going to be accosted tonight. I don't imagine it would reflect well on the lady if people coming to meet with her had to deal with interruptions.
Your favorite location, Medea? A ship.
Medea just begrudgingly says the word out loud. Boat.
That's where we're going to take a break. So we'll do 10 minutes. Back real soon. Welcome back, everybody. To
I
the
feel
second
like the
half of
episode
this
title should be "Show Me the Petals, Bro."
Show me the Petals, bro. Yeah. All right. So, is there anything you guys want to do to prepare for this meeting, other than going up?
I'll take a short rest to regain that one use of bardic inspiration.
Okay. Take a short rest and regain your body.
I forgot that I got that ability.
I don't think there's anything I really need to do. I mean, we're just going in to negotiate, so ready for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do. That's just.
Oh wait, can I bring contract paper and writing tools? Like
Sure.
some solid
Yeah.
quill.
I like the idea that she is going to try and like
Opinion will
write a
loan
formal
you
contract.
some stuff for it.
I have quill and paper in my diplomat pack.
You all eventually make your way down to the docks and find yourselves on a respectably large ship. Gonna pull up token just in case. Right. I don't know how much you guys can see.
Says, do not own any token with vision.
How about now? Definitely have an Alveron token out.
I see like a tiny
Okay,
section. It might be a rug.
because you're a human.
I see nothing.
I see nothing.
I also see nothing. But
There's it's
I understand that there is an element of because I'm a human.
Even if what if I shift ping you guys over?
okay, now I can see.
Okay, yeah, it's just a
It's
smaller.
all black for me.
Because you don't have dark vision.
I'm gonna pull out some lights quick. There would be some lights.
Medea
Yeah.
can just use the light trip on if people.
I feel like if we walk into a place that just has no light, that's a red flag.
Medea will like put light at the end of their spear and forward.
I think Andrew's saying there is light. It just
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
exist.
Yeah, I just haven't put it on.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully we'd stop walking.
Never stop. You're like a shark, Sulveran. If you stop, you die.
Except
there we
for when
go.
darkness occurs. The last time he, just wandered around in darkness, he was very nearly one-shotted. He has learned a lesson.
Yeah, so you guys are in a fairly, decently busy-looking ship wharf. There's all kinds of small fishing boats here and there. You guys have any vision now? Just now that I've added some lights, or still no?
Yeah, I have
do.
around the light spots that you've put in. I have like vision on those.
can't see
areas. There's a
anything.
few areas with no overlap, but
You do not see.
Yeah.
your token.
I still can't see anything, despite the fact that I can see my token on the stream.
Well, the stream has access to everybody's stuff, so
Yeah. It's
I can
fine.
see a lot of people moving
I can see
their
now.
their
Yeah,
mice
it-
around.
it
but
might
that's
just be your internet's taking a little bit longer to catch up.
Probably.
Maybe.
But
Almost
as
guaranteed.
I'm adding the lights and stuff.
Yeah, I still can't see my token though. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, so you find the appropriate ship that you've been told to go to. It's to look about. It, for the moment, as you first enter, seems to be quiet. empty as you kind of board the gangplank. There's not really anybody there to greet you or anything like that. But as you wait there for a moment and look around, that same person, or what seems to be the same person that you saw beforehand, approaches from below the deck. Will step out to greet you.
This is the docks for the actual ocean, right?
Yes, these are the docks for the ocean.
Okay. Sulveran is doing his absolute best to like pay attention to what is going on the ship around him, and almost like decidedly not looking over to see the ocean because he knows it will distract him.
Okay. Kind of looking at everyone and then start maneuvering towards. This is the same masked individual, right?
Yeah.
Will is touching anything that she passes by that has like just wood, like ship wood. She'll just like run her hand across and just be like, "It's been a while. I've been on a new ship." But I'll follow Alveron towards masked figure.
They will pull their hood down to let you see a bit more of their face. Despite their accent, they seem to be a human, and they're fairly short as well. Standing around like 5'1". Taller than, of course, than Uba, but I think shorter than most of you. Maybe not Medea. I know Medea's kind of short, but I forget how short exactly.
Medea's 5 foot flat.
Okay, so a little bit taller than Medea, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
They will look at you and say, "So, are you all prepared to meet the lady?"
Absolutely.
Is there any form of respect that the lady expects from those dealing with her?
Well, she expects you not to tell any lies. You'll very quickly find out that they'll be able to tell. And, of course, that you not do anything that we all here might regret. We want to keep this friendly. Anything else is of no consequence. There is no particular greeting or honorific that you must use. We are not so pretentious as that.
Will nods.
Very well. He will kind of tap with his foot on the deck of the ship twice, and you'll see another figure approach from beneath the deck. It appears to be an Elkaran woman. Long white hair, kind of trailing down their shoulders. They're wearing a fairly common gear, the kind of thing that you might expect somebody who's going to do a bit of like a cat burglar or something like that. So they're wearing like leathers. It's all close fitting, but not like super tight kind of thing. Very, very dark blue, everything. So it kind of blends in with the shadows. And matches their skin, which is a very dark blue color, as opposed to some of the other shades that you've seen before on elk. Their eyes are red, but not their whole eye. They still have whites around the iris. But they'll step out and look at you all and say, "So, I'm informed that you wish to make a deal with me."
Yes, my lady. It's been remarked to me by someone I trust that you are the one to go to for matters of, shall we say, clearing up past issues, and that your influence in the region is unparalleled.
Senna has explained to me your problem. Of course, I'm very well aware of the bounty that has been placed on your head by our dear friend, the captain back in skies. So, I know that you have not nearly enough coin to offer me. That means that it must be work then. Glancing about at all of you, I am to understand by your presence that anything that Alveron here agrees to, you will be taking part in. Yes?
Yes.
These are my compatriots, lady. They and I work together. And they've agreed for now that whatever it takes to get this settled, we'll work together on it to finish it, put it behind us.
Very well. There are a number of things that you could do for me that would satisfy this arrangement that we've just come to. Something for me, and while you are within the confines of the Elkar Desert, your bounty will be, for all intents and purposes, void. Should anything happen to you, well then I will take care of it. Is that understood?
I look at the rest to make sure there's no objections or anything, but yeah,
Yep. Will nods.
Very well. Know that you are perhaps an honorable sort, so I will attempt not to ask of you anything that would be considered too beyond the pale. There's really three things that you could do for me. In Tal'Tericus, there is a nuisance, we shall say, you could take care of. And by that, yes, I do mean kill. Small band. Don't think it would be too hard for someone like your group. From what I know, I've heard that you handled that Drake quite handily. And, well, you're staying at Melfindian's tower, so you can't be completely useless. It would be simple, and for our purposes, quite easy. Your location, you go there, do some knife work, magic work, whatever you choose. I will assure you, of course, that these are not good people. You should really have no worries about doing this thing. But I always get the sense that someone like you, that may be still a little bit not trusting me, to be honest about why and who they're doing, what is going on. So instead, you could, perhaps a bit harder, locate for me the heart of a gray dragon. I know where one might be found. You could go kill it for me. It's more, I think, up your recent alley. The third option would be to steal something from me. You would have to go into one of the towers of Sarsaranid and take a particular artifact from a particularly stupid wizard who will not barter with me. That, I think, would be the hardest of your three options. I would expect you not to kill the owner of said artifact, as that would be inconvenient for myself this juncture. But she kind of
Understood.
splays her hands at that point and says, discuss amongst yourselves. Of course, you can always refuse and then leave, and perhaps you won't be hunted down, perhaps you will be. Up to you. I'm not.
Yeah, the lights went away a little bit ago, but I mean, we can still see like the
Okay.
general outline.
Well,
of
this
everything.
on the stream,
I think
the
it's fine.
token I pulled out also doesn't actually have the image, which is
So she gives us like a moment amongst ourselves.
yeah. She like kind of will just cross her hands and wait for you guys to talk, decide.
Can I make an Arcana, Nature, or History roll about Grey Dragons?
I will accept any of those for slightly different information.
28 Arcana.
That's pretty good. Let me pull up the thing so I can give you good information.
Pretty good. Let me actually pull up information.
Let me not just tell you like some generic info.
They're grey. They're a dragon. They have a heart.
Okay. Gray dragons are considered, this is some more like categorization type things. They're not considered chromatic dragons, but they're not considered, generally speaking, metallic dragons. They're a little bit other in that sense. They're more closely related to chromatic dragons, though, the evil kind, quote unquote. Gray dragons don't have a breath weapon. Instead, they have a more powerful bite and tail attack. They're said to be spiked all over, and they have a connection with the earth. They often burrow, create layers, fissures within the land. Earthquakes often appear around their lair, and they're pretty rare compared to other kinds of dragons. What else? They can mimic sounds. They're known to be like, they pride themselves on being the best quote unquote hunters of all the dragons. So they can mimic animal sounds, humanoid sounds, anything that they hear. That kind of thing. Other than that, they have wings. They can fly. They do have a burrow speed. They can like literally move through the ground. For the most part, other than that, normal-ish dragon stuff.
Do I know if they have any immunities from that?
They are immune to acid, and being they can't be petrified because of their connection with the earth.
Okay, I'll make a note that we can't petrify the Grey Dragon.
Yeah.
That will be important for our planning. Cannot. I've turned into Kala. This annoying list. Cannot petrify. I think Will says, well, I obviously prefer the non-killing, non-stealing route of slaying the dragon. They're typically evil, the grey ones, anyway, and well, more towards evil than not. Dragons exist on the same scale of morality as all of us, but that would be my preference.
My preference, the dragon. No crimes. The city found out we worked for them. They're not exactly going to care.
So
the people of
just
Teltaricus is not relevant to the people of Tal'Anfagon.
To be kind of specific about what I mean is that they don't have a breath weapon, but in comparison to other dragons, their bite, claw, and tail attacks do more damage.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit more deadly generally, even though they don't have that.
Fine. Just means that people that aren't will get hit for more damage. If we did choose to deal with the band of definitely not good people, I don't think that would change our standing with Tal'Anfagon, given that Teltaricus is a separate city. But then that's a trip across the desert as well. We don't know where this dragon is.
While the Lady of Petals was talking, I think Sulveran was still squinting at her, trying to discern whether or not she was trying to lie to them specifically about that band of people. Oh yeah, they're fine. And then draw their attention to the other tasks instead. Like,
Sorry, what are you trying to discern exactly?
he's basically suspicious that she was being duplicitous on her. You won't want this one. Look at these other two quests instead.
Okay, sure. Make an insight check.
Let's see if that rolls, because I've had to refresh a lot. I'm gonna roll by hand because it's.
Okay. They're very hard to read. You're kind of like trying to determine like the layers of meaning behind their like words and how they're saying them. Because you get the sense that everything is very measured. They're not really wasting words, and they're not saying stuff unnecessarily. At least nothing that they don't want some meaning to come across from. You would suspect that the one that they would want done the most is the first job. Just based off of how they're talking. But you do think that they're being genuine in that they kind of are expecting Alveron to be a bit fussy about like killing people, even if, despite what she says. She seems to have a deep understanding of, maybe not deep, but at least quite a bit of understanding about Alveron, or at least she feels that she does. She's like talking like, I kind of know what you're going to do already, but here's your options.
Just so you all know, Alveron's morality is kind of having a shift, and this is kind of an internal thing, but it's coming out. Part of the issue is he's reticent about killing, especially people who he doesn't know and who doesn't have a need to kill to defend his own life. But you are all people who have saved his life at least once through some way or another. Defending your lives is also now really, really important to him. So if he's weighing a band of brigands versus you all, he's choosing to kill the band of brigands, even if they're not a direct threat to his life at this point. And that's kind of what's going through my mind right now. Is now I've had this shift where I've suddenly realized keeping you all alive is more important than that morality attached to not killing these other people, this outside group. At the same time, if I can avoid the moral conundrum at all, I'd rather. This is another question. How has
dragons
Uba
aren't
been
an
about
animal
killing...
either.
Yeah, no, that's the other part of it. How has Uba reacted to anything involving hunting down draconic creatures?
So all we know,
Yeah,
like in character, is that there was some like Uba was a little squeamish about the scales, like being taken. So I think we know that there's like some reticence
think Ubas would probably say, and this is a good point, say, I wonder if she'll let us keep the horde. Because I think Uba is still going to think like, oh, we could make like their dragon. Like I would like a dragon sword. I still think that would be their first reaction based off of what I know about the character from Marisa. And maybe after you decide, they might realize, oh, do I actually want to do this? But in the moment, they're going to be thinking, guys, we could get a dragon sword. She just wants the heart.
I think
That's true.
I would like to eliminate the stealing from the wizard.
You want to cut that one out?
I would not like to become a thief either.
I think that one would easily be the one that could go the most wrong.
Sulveran, you would be more willing to murder a band of people you had been told by someone were bad than become a thief?
Thievery is still murder, just slower. And he looks over to the woman and then back to the group. If we decide that she has deceived us when she told us that these brigands were someone that Alveron would not mind killing, then there is nothing holding us to our word there, is there? And he is not particularly trying to be quiet. He's, in fact, looking her in the eyes as he says this.
Okay. Make a this is a wisdom saving throw or an intimidation check. One of those two things.
If you do the saving throw, you get a plus.
If you do the saving throw, you get your wisdom as a cleric and proficiency, and if you do intimidation, you get nothing.
I will just say the checks get something out. Like doing an intimidation check, you are trying to intimidate them. Making the wisdom save is just trying to like maintain that eye contact.
He's not trying to intimidate. He's just acknowledging it.
Okay, go ahead and make a willpower save.
Okay.
Or wisdom save.
All right.
Willpower.
Yeah,
Playing
that's also
too
going
much
to be
Wrath of the Righteous. Okay. You get the sense that this person, this is just extra information, is not, is used to being able to kind of cow people with a good stare down. So they all look at you like, you say whatever you want. But yeah, if you don't do that thing, sure, you can think that that's going to be okay after you agree to do it. That's what you get from their gaze. They are staring at you quite hard.
All right. How about this? How about you put your hand up if you don't want to do the dragon thing?
I think her like aide de camp is like just snickers.
Sulveran is carrying around a drake egg, presumably still on Uba's behalf. Yeah. So he just, I have met all of the dragons I have met. I have liked. I cannot say so much for humans.
All right. I think Will is like deeply shaken to her core by the idea that you would preference the life of a dragon that leans towards evil morality over random humans, and says, whether that is the case or not, 4 of us did not raise our hand. So it seems likely that might be the best choice. I equally would be far more comfortable stealing from a wizard than becoming a hired killer.
I worry that mission itself, the stealing from the wizard, is going to create us more enemies down the line.
That's true. Just so I know, Andrew, I wrote down as she said this that we were to kill a small band of something that are definitely not good people, and we have no more information than those words. She didn't tell us anything about them beyond that they were a small band of something.
No, but you could ask.
Will doesn't want to ask because Will wants to kill the dragon. But
Medea,
Will,
I think,
go ahead, Sarah.
I was gonna say, Medea will look to the lady at the door and say, "Can you ask her if we killed the dragon, if we'll be keeping the horn? And can you ask bandits, people we'd be killing? In the first option, why Alveron wouldn't? They hired murderers, gang members, killed drug traders. Those two pieces of information help greatly with this decision."
My lady, while we decide, two questions have arisen. This band of nuisances
Mhm.
that have displeased you so, who could you tell us more about who they are? I fear some moral conundrums have arisen. And then, Sarah, so sorry, what was your second question?
The second question was, would we get to keep the Great Dragon Toward?
And for the
So-
dragon, is the heart the only payment your ladyship requires?
The well, the easy question to answer that you can keep whatever you find with the dragon. I have plenty of money. I mean, if there's something you want to bring to me,
Why do you want the Great?
I actually don't want it for myself. I want it for somebody else.
Huh?
Hmm.
Killing people?
The people that you are going to kill are rivals of mine, you could say. They traffic in a variety of things, but Alveron in particular, be happy to know that they have been known to kidnap folks, which I think is something that you might find understandable in wanting to hurt them. They do other things, of course, but well, taking people from their homes, what could be worse?
Yeah, that gets Alveron a little bit.
Do I have to make a roll to tell that she is like intentionally pushing in that direction?
It would be an insight check, yeah.
I'm so bad at insight. It's only 10.
I mean, she's explaining the job to you. She's giving you options. It's very hard to read what she wants and does not want.
Well, I can narrow it down to this. If you choose to do the job where you're going to kill the kidnappers, bandits, whatever they may be, I will come with you and I will help you, but I will not actively kill another human unless it is to save one of your lives. Not that I do much killing anyway, really.
I feel personally that group morality wise, the dragon is kind of the best job for us at the moment.
Your
Charlie.
voice has softened a little bit, just so you know.
Oh.
Thanks. Oh, no, I
Is
can't
that
hear
better?
you.
Is
It's
that
a
any
little
better?
quiet. A little quiet.
It's a little better.
I can turn it up a little bit.
Okay.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I'm just
That
upping
sounds
my
good.
gain.
That
Okay.
sounds good.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Charlie, I know this is an issue for you.
Sulveran.
Is there any? Sorry, yes. Calling Jack, Will, and Sulveran Charlie.
Reversed it.
But as Will said, the dragon does lead more towards the evil side of morality. Is more a threat to other people. Where does this come down for you?
issue or not, I will follow.
I would not have you compromise your morality on this.
It is not, I think, exactly a question of my morality, as I simply do not understand. If we say that these dragons tend toward the evil, when I do not see anything else for humanoids, perhaps it is just that I am less worldly, and he looks to Will. As I said, I will follow. If I did not think, or if I thought that it would compromise my morality, I would not.
I think Will turns to the lady and says, "Do you mind if I cast a quick spell?"
I doubt that you would try to harm me significantly. So, yes, you may do so.
It's like, I don't think a firewall on the ship would be useful in that current situation. I'll cast Sending to Aracondas
Okay.
and ask if, knowing that grey dragons are great hunters, is their prey primarily beast or human?
Okay. It does take a moment for them to respond. They'll say, "Hello. Gray dragons hunt anything, but they favor intelligent creatures. Something that will provide a challenge. And they will hunt even if they are not hungry, if they are bored."
Will gets like the normal, sends the message through a rush of waves from her eyes, and it just like covers the distance in a second. But when she gets it back, it's like with additional Aracondus magic to it, and her eyes glow green for a moment. And she like gets a vague headache from the power of like the dragon magic returning. And says, "Okay, well, Aracondus says that grey dragons prefer to hunt the intelligent because they like the sport of it. If that helps, over beasts. Also, I don't like doing sendings to Aracondus." She cracks her neck and just like cracks in 3 different joints.
I'll would lesser restoration help with muscle pain?
Sure.
I'll take a second and cast lesser restoration on Will on their neck.
Sure. Will feels not 30 but 29 for a moment. Well, like I said, I am willing to sway my morality if you all feel strongly enough about dealing with the kidnappers or whatever, or the rivals of the lady. But I would prefer the dragon for reasons of the horde as well being significant to us.
I feel it's worth mentioning as well that killing an evil dragon in the land can only ingratiate us further with the Sultan.
Again, and if we ever have to go to Tel Tarsius, I'd rather not have our only reputation potentially prefer the dragon number. But the biggest one would be that it can't cause any problems for us besides dying. The other
Also,
come with complications.
Also, fighting a dragon of this power is not going to be the same as fighting the Drake, so it is going to be more difficult, but I think we are capable of handling it.
Oh, I'm aware I'm going to be the one almost getting mauled.
Well, as long as almost is in the sentence, that's fine.
It does.
Oh my god, Sulveran turned into a dog! That masked person cost polymorph.
Your last level was Druid.
Amazing.
It does help. It does help, he says to Will, and then simply nods agreement as they're planning what would be necessary for the dragon.
Can I look to the lady at the door and say, would her ladyship mind if we did not kill these rivals, but merely incapacitated them, brought to local city and
You could bring them. You could bring them to me. I would find that acceptable.
would you execute them?
Not right away. Not if you brought them to me.
Be hard to transport that though.
It's always possible I could convince them to change sides.
I'm not convinced about our ability to transport a group of Elkar through the desert that don't want to be there, particularly if they're a little bit more on the
A picture
criminal
for
side of things.
the lady as well. Got to work.
My preference I leads strongly towards the dragon.
All right, let's just do the dragon. We can talk about it all day tomorrow, whether or not we should have picked something else. And if there's really kidnappers in Teltericus and it bothers us that much, we can go deal with that separately to helping her ladyship.
And then I'll get a 2-for-1. That would
We
be
might get-
most pleasant.
There's probably other kidnappers in Teltericus. We might get the wrong set.
Where do we find the Grey Dragon? It'd be nice to be able to do some research. And
Of course, you are to take your time. Figure things out. The dragon is not overly far from here. In the mountains of Great. I
oh,
can show you on a map.
Medea looks visibly like their whole body language shifts, like they soak lower into the chair.
The Tacronos Mountains are beautiful this time of year. You would find
Northern.
it in the south. Near Joxus.
Samad.
I can arrange a ship that will take you to Athos, and from there you could walk.
Also gets it done very quickly.
This is true.
Quicker
I
than
find
a
myself
truck
very
would.
much leaning this way, personally.
Do we have to give her an answer now of which one we're picking? That was my impression from the threat she made.
You get the impression that like she would like an answer now. But if you ask for a day, she's not gonna straight up like refuse necessarily. If you want to take a little bit longer than just a few minutes to decide. But you don't get the impression that like this is a person that's used to like having to wait a ton of time.
Yeah.
I think the benefit of us just accepting to deal with the dragon, she can get things going for the ship
Also, I will show you this
sooner
one.
rather than later, and we can leave potentially tomorrow morning. Slay a dragon, come back, become heroes in Thrate. That's where a lot of heroes start anyway. The Thracian epics are always poorly written but well performed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good for the dragon at this point.
All right,
It's going to
milady,
be interesting
you.
being a duelist fighting a dragon, but yeah.
It's all right.
Let's
You're
get
all
started.
melee. We'll slay your dragon and take its heart for you, or for your friend.
Good. Well then, I believe we have an arrangement. You may take this ship. It will, if you board it within the next week, there will be a captain in the morning, and they will take you to Athos. From there, they will wait for you. Take you too long. I think if it takes more than 2 weeks, I'll say that you're dead, and well, you won't have to worry about the bounty anymore.
I think Will nods already, like planning the semantics of like the journey.
Will the bounty be dealt with by the time we're back, or will the bounty out when we're back?
Now that you've accepted the job, the bounty will be on hold.
Thank you.
Of course,
Acceptable to
you'll be protectable on the ship, but freight is a bit far afield, so you might want to watch your back still.
Will we be getting paid in this job compensation other than being put on? Just
No. Your payment is that I will tell every single gang, bounty hunter, nosy shopkeeper in the whole desert that Alveron no longer being hunted down by any of us.
all
The
right.
coin that you find is yours, and I'm sure that is more than ample reward.
I think Will nods and says, that plus the value of the bounty being put on hold. Certainly. Do we need to do anything to the heart? Just take it, bring it back? Does it need to be desiccated? Put in some kind of bag? A jar?
Bring it back. You may take this, and they'll pull out an item, special bag, designed to preserve things put inside.
Will takes it.
It is very nice. It's a blue leather bag. Clearly, as you glance at it, magic of some sort.
Will looks at Alveron, kind of like inclines her head in a way. It's like, well, we leave when you want to leave.
Gather, resupply at the tower, rest up, prepare to ship out. Milady, you said within the next week, Captain will be on board. If we return in 2 days at dawn, ready to sail?
They will be here every morning till the evening until you want to leave, or your time runs out. At which
As
point,
they say.
that's pretty bad for you.
All right.
Well, then we should take our leave and not distract you any further from your evening.
The air. Yes, well, thank you for your time. I will be very sure to reward Stena for leading you to me. I'm sure that they will enjoy that. We should be on our way. They'll like hold out their hand, just like palm up, and their attendant will like place their hand upon it, and you'll see them dimension door out. The bag being placed on the ground where they were standing.
Such yeah, we'll grab the bag and say, that's such a useful spell for dramatic exits. 2 days to get various affairs in order.
Sounds about right. Load up, resupply, be prepared.
Great.
Exactly.
Perhaps we might invite this Ort along. He seems to like hunting interesting beasts.
If we're going to deal with a grey dragon, if there's any way we could secure me plate armor, any way to increase my defense. A dragon that we know is primarily physical.
This is maybe slightly out of character, but deciding to say it. We will say, I think if we invite Ort, they might be willing to advance you some plate armor.
That would
We
be
have to
useful.
separate the horde into 6 instead of 5.
No, I don't know if I like that.
And a worshipper of Cordal's always going to want the shiniest things, Uba.
Maybe we
The
It's
don't
shiniest
do that.
weapons, the shiniest
Yes.
You're
armor.
good without plate
Yes.
armor, right? But yeah, we can do it.
Uba, would you rather me be standing in front of the masked grey dragon with plate armor or without?
I mean, I don't wear plate armor, and I'm going to be doing
Also,
it.
How
also
much?
Ort,
How
there's
much?
no way Ort's going to finish that armor by the time that we leave.
They might be able to adjust something.
Also, I guess if they're on the ship, that's the thing.
Medea, I can offer 175 gold, which is most of what I have in my purse right now. Or Uba, if you do not wish to share your pick of the horde, if it will get them plate armor, that means quite a lot less for me to do in a battle. And I would be willing to offer up my share.
Well, I mean, then we're losing 20% as a holistic group rather than the lesser amount.
Yes, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm the member of the group that's going to get physical beating from the dragon. That whole thing is physically beating.
Hold on. Also, Uber gets hit a lot, and we never talk about getting Uber better armor.
Hmm.
I don't have anything to offer for you, otherwise I would. I realized that the scimitar I have I gave up for something else. I give up
No.
all of my good stuff for other people.
This isn't a necessity. We don't have to if we don't do. But I'm saying if there are any preparations, to me that would be on top.
It is not merely the armor we stood to gain. We could have an additional fighter. Is there a reason you would not wish one? And he turns to Will for that.
I think that testing ourselves with the net of powerful allies does not hold us in good stead for when we test ourselves against something that can fight Taurolis. We have to improve our abilities, and relying on others is a worse way to improve your ability. But, and Will, like, clicks her fingers and starts sending to Ord. And it's like, hey, Ord, if we're going to go fight a dragon, can you give us the plate armor in advance for the money that Medea's already paid? And I will pay an extra 500 on top of the cost when we get back. Yeah. And I'll roll persuasion if necessary. Hold on. I'm also increasing the price that we're willing to pay by 500, so can I have some form of advantage? So, okay, I don't want to try and work out if it's 25 words. We're going to fight a dragon. To fight that dragon. That's 5 already. Fight a dragon. Will you advance Medea's armor? I'll pay extra 500 when we return. It's Will. That's 25. Yeah, just in case.
He just sends back.
I didn't say Grey Dragon, I just said a dragon. Because one limit. Did you need the roll? Sorry. Just the 19 with my expertise. That would be fun.
Just a night.
I have expertise. We're going to leave in 2 days. When we pick up the plate, we'll let you know. So just, you're an adventurer. Be ready to leave in 2 days. Also, we need the. I have to cast sending again. I cast the second use of sending to give this information. Be like, also, we have to leave in 2 days. I didn't put the time pressure on it. Once again, sending proves to be the one greatest spell in D&D.
Yeah. It's just having texting with like very limited rates.
So Will like turns after 15 seconds or so, and just trying to really decipher what Ort said, and said, Ort will advance you the armor until we get back with the dragon horde. I suspect that means he'll take a loss if we die, but it's less likely with the armor. He also said that if we needed the additional fighter, he was welcome to come. We can talk about that in the next couple of days before we leave.
Well, plate armor and the promise of a dragon sword is about the only thing that would get me to go back straight.
What if that's where we found Tarlus was eventually? Like, he's been moved to Thrate. You're not coming?
Roll of the dice.
This is the area you showed me that is cooler comparatively than here, yes?
Cooler depends on what you mean. Tends to have more moderate temp. Can still get quite hot, still get quite cold, but it is not as hot for so long.
This is acceptable.
Alright, let's go back to the tower.
Yeah.
Elfindi has to be a good resource for, Well, she's promised to lift the bounty and put the word out in the region that I'm not to be touched.
We're also going to be heading to Thrate to kill a grey dragon. Primate payment.
That's the second part.
Yeah,
Oh, you're not coming? Reasonable.
look, if we're going to trade a sixth of this horde that we're going to get, I'd rather trade it to you, who will eventually pay me, than Ort. What we were thinking. But also, are you even capable of going to toe-to-toe with the dragon, Kala? Well, it's a grey dragon, so it doesn't really have a breath to deal with. I would, as I said, I think it's important that we learn to operate as the five of us. If eventually we're going to continue taking on bigger and better things. But if all of you decide that you'd like backup, I'm happy for you to invite Kala or both, really, I guess. I don't care about the money that much, but I know that Uba does.
I think, Kala, you have important research here, and us pulling you away from that sets you back in your mission as well as sets us back a bit with our long-term plans.
Well,
Could sneak up on the dragon. That's, you've correctly explained what every fight's about, Kala. Whether it dies before it kills you. All right. Well, Kala's out. Will smiles affectionately and says, "Well, it's all right. We'll manage without you. Then, when we come back, you'll have accrued so many scrolls for me to spend my dragon sword on." Will is going to go to sleep. Like, it's quite late in the evening. And she's already thinking about being on a ship that has a captain, which doesn't sit that well with her. Like, it feels like a downgrade to be a passenger on a ship now, but we can decide about what off screen a bit as well, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did it again. I left myself muted for a little bit. That's okay. I didn't do that much talking. This session's gonna be terrible on the YouTube video. So
They will forgive us.
yeah, it's okay. You guys, everybody else's audio is way more important. Like my audio, whatever.
Yeah, I disagree.
Not that important.
Who needs to hear the DM?
I know, right?
Right.
The problem of DMing and doing the stream stuff at the same time. All right. Well, despite the technical difficulties, I hope that everybody who came enjoyed it, and I'm excited for next session to do some dragon hunting and go freight. It'll be fun. All right. See you guys next time.